Hello and welcome to day 9 of the Advent calendar full of amazing Christmas story for you to enjoy this time of year. Um, I want to thank you all of those who listen to the full story and subscribe to my channel. Um, and if you are not subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe to my channel, listen to my stories. And as usual, until next story, stay safe. Peace.
Once upon a time, in a small, snow-covered town nestled deep within a forest, there lived an old man named Thomas. Thomas had spent his entire life weaving magical stories that filled the hearts of children and adults alike with joy, wonder, and the true spirit of Christmas. His tales of snowflakes that danced like ballerinas, reindeer that soared through the night sky, and Santa Claus bringing joy to the world were legendary. Every Christmas, families would gather around a fire, eagerly awaiting the latest tale from the beloved writer. But Thomas had a secret wish, a wish that had lived in his heart since he was a little boy. Despite all the joy he brought to others with his stories, there was one thing he had never experienced himself: seeing Santa Claus. As a child, Thomas would lie awake on Christmas Eve, his heart pounding with excitement, hoping that this would be the year he would catch a glimpse of the jolly old man in red. Yet, every year, he was met with silence and the sight of gifts left by his loving parents. Though he was grateful, a small sadness took root deep within his heart, a yearning to see Santa, to know that the magic he wrote about was real. As the years passed, Thomas grew from a boy into a man, and from a man into an elder. His hair turned silver, and his steps slowed, but his love for Christmas and his belief in Santa never wavered. Each year, he continued to write his beautiful stories, bringing hope and cheer to others, but still, he held on to his one secret wish. Now, at the age of 80, Thomas was no longer able to write as he once did. His hands trembled, and his eyesight had grown dim, but his heart was as full of wonder as ever. It was Christmas Eve once again, and though the town was alive with laughter and joy, Thomas sat alone by his fireplace, staring into the dancing flames. The house was quiet, save for the crackling of the fire and the ticking of the old clock on the mantel. He had written one last story that year, a tale of a man who never gave up on his dreams, even in the face of time and doubt. He knew it would be the final story he would ever write, and as he finished, a single tear slipped down his cheek. As the clock struck midnight, a strange sensation washed over Thomas, a warmth that filled the room, unlike anything he had felt before. The fire seemed to burn brighter, and the air was filled with the scent of fresh pine and peppermint. Thomas's heart began to race, just as it had when he was a little boy lying awake on Christmas Eve. He stood up slowly, his old bones creaking, and turned towards the window. Outside, the snow was falling gently, covering the ground in a soft, white blanket. But something was different this time. Through the swirling snow, Thomas saw a faint glow, growing brighter with each passing second. He squinted, not trusting his old eyes, but the light only grew stronger until it became clear. There, just beyond his front yard, stood a sleigh, its runners shining in the moonlight, and at the reins, a figure in red, his coat trimmed with white fur, his beard as white as the snow itself. Thomas's breath caught in his throat. He couldn't believe his eyes. After all these years, after all the stories he had written, after all the wishes made with a heart full of hope, there he was, Santa Claus, just as he had always imagined. The jolly old man smiled warmly, his eyes twinkling with kindness and mischief. He stepped out of the sleigh and walked towards Thomas's door. Before Thomas could move, Santa was standing right in front of him, filling the room with his presence. "Thomas," Santa said, his voice deep and comforting, "you have spent your life bringing joy to others, believing in the magic of Christmas, even when it seemed the world had forgotten. Tonight, I am here to fulfill the wish you've held in your heart for so long." Tears filled Thomas's eyes as he nodded, unable to speak. Santa placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and smiled. You have kept the spirit of Christmas alive in your stories, and now it's time for you to experience the magic for yourself. With that, Santa handed Thomas a small, beautifully wrapped gift. Thomas's hands shook as he unwrapped it, revealing a golden pen, shimmering with an ethereal light. This pen, Santa explained, is no ordinary pen. It holds the magic of Christmas within it. With it, you can write stories that will come to life, stories that will bring joy not just to others, but to you as well. This is my gift to you, Thomas, for keeping the magic alive all these years. Thomas looked at the pen in awe, his heart swelling with gratitude and joy. Santa winked, then turned to leave, but not before he said, "Remember, Thomas, the magic of Christmas is real, and it lives within you. Never stop believing." And with that, Santa stepped outside, climbed into his sleigh, and with a wave and a hearty Merry Christmas, he disappeared into the night sky, leaving behind a trail of sparkling stardust. Thomas stood there for a long moment, staring at the spot where Santa had just been. His heart was so full it felt like it might burst. He held the golden pen tightly, knowing that his lifelong wish had finally come true. He had seen Santa, but more than that, he had been given a gift beyond his wildest dreams, a chance to continue creating magic, not just for others, but for himself as well. That night, Thomas sat down at his desk, the golden pen glowing softly in his hand, and began to write. The words flowed effortlessly, each one filled with the warmth and wonder of the Christmas spirit. And as he wrote, he knew that the magic of Christmas would live on forever, in his stories, in his heart, and in the hearts of all who believed. And so, in a small, snow-covered town, an old man named Thomas spent his remaining years writing stories that brought joy to the world. And every Christmas Eve, he would look out his window, hoping to see that sleigh again, knowing that the magic of Christmas was real, and that wishes really do come true. The end.